Hello everyone, I'm Rabbi Chaitovsky. Welcome to my office at BMH-BJ for another video Dvar. It's good to be back after a few weeks of absence. This week's Torah portion is the Torah portion of Naso. And many people know the Torah portion of Naso primarily because of its length. It is one of the longest Torah portions that we have. But the good thing about it is that its length is primarily due to the fact that the gifts of the priests, the gifts of the Nisi'im, the leaders of the tribes, are listed individually. And on another occasion we had talked about why the Torah repeats the exact same words, changing only the name of the giver of the gift, when it could have just as easily listed all the names and then the gifts at one time without being specific. We're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about two other things in the Torah portion that I think highlight a very interesting idea, a very important idea for us as Jews living in a Jewish and general society and trying to make our way in both. We have a description of various duties of the Kohen in our Torah portion. One, we find the Kohen serving as a functionary for various rituals, dealing with people outside of the temple, dealing with non-Kohanim. We find the Kohen involved in marital issues, trying to help determine the status of a couple where one of the parties is suspected of adultery. And we also find the Kohen, very famously, offering the priestly benediction, the Birchat Kohanim, something we do in synagogues every holiday, something that in Israel is done every day by Kohanim, and it's one of the few rituals other than having the first aliyah and perhaps functioning at a pidyon haben, that everyone knows Kohanim do. They raise their hands, they make that symbol, and no one's allowed to look, and they offer 15 words of blessing to the people. And we also have a description of a person known as the Nazir. The Nazir, the Nazirite, is someone who makes a vow to abstain or to withdraw from the world in a way to get a little closer to God. Withdrawing from the world, separating himself from wine, not associating with his closest relatives, letting his hair grow wild. This is all, not eating meat, this is all in an effort to get closer to God. The Kohen and the Nazir are both holy people. It's interesting that when the Nazir ends the period of the Nazirite vow, when that period comes to an end, it says that he must bring a series of offerings. And it is the Kohen who presides over those offerings, one of which is a chatat, a sin offering. And the rabbis in the Gemara wonder, why should the Nazir bring a sin offering? It should be just the opposite. The Nazir elevated himself, attached himself to God, brought about for himself a new level of holiness and a new level of kiddusha in his relationship to God. In a sense, he becomes almost like a Kohen, who we also know has a special relationship with God and maintains a level of super holiness. Why does the Nazir have to bring a sin offering? And I think it has to do with the opposite activities of the Kohen and the Nazir. Both are holy. Both are trying to elevate their level of connection to God. But one does it through service to the community. One does it by engagement with people. One does it by involvement in people's problems, marital problems, death, etc. And the other does it by a total withdrawal from those things. One, the focus is on the community. In the other, the focus is on himself. That inward focus, while that's praiseworthy for a limited amount of time, comes at a price. It means the person must exclude himself from the community. In fact, the wording of the Torah says, when a man will take a vow to withdraw, to abstain, to take a step back, that kind of asceticism, that monk-like existence, is really not where Kiddusha is ultimately found. There have been very famous people in Jewish history who have achieved high levels of Kiddusha that way. Most famously, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the cave. The story of him in the cave and the very high level of connection to God and Torah that he achieved. But it's clear from the Gemara that upon emerging from that cave, his level was so high that he couldn't relate to the realities of the world and the realities of the people who were living in that world and needed to go back to the cave to sort of reorient. The Nazir is the heir of Shimon Bar Yochai. The Nazir is one who withdraws in order to achieve higher levels, but is not really able to relate to the community during that time. And that's why the Torah prescribes a limited amount of time for the Nazir. And that's why the Torah says when the Nazir emerges from that, a chatat offering, a sin offering is brought, because that achievement of Kiddusha came at a price of withdrawal. And withdrawal from the community is not the ideal. HaPoresh min hatzibur, you're not allowed to separate from the community. We must always think about the community. We must always be involved in the community, because that's what it means to live life as a Jew with others and to live life as a citizen of whatever country in which we find ourselves. Kohen and Nazir. Involvement, withdrawal. The Torah makes a very clear case for which one is preferred. Have a wonderful Shabbat.